Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for the tens of listeners that we have. Welcome back to Stateside Speed. This is episode 3. Today is March 18th, and it's race week once again. I'm joined.
Oh, yeah.
She's joined.
Yeah.
Joined by Dennis Prescott. And our special guest today is Aaron Patterson of Dancing with the Odds fame and the token Kick Sauber fan of New. So welcome, Aaron.
Well, someone's got to root for him.
Yeah. But probably a smart move because we'll be Audi here in a couple of years, and we'll kind of get into a little bit more of Kick Sauber as one team that I kind of wanted to focus on a bit this week, because I think these lesser known and discussed teams, everyone talks about the Red Bulls and the McLarens and the Ferraris and all those teams, but what about the lower men on the totem poles, the Alpines? And I think we kind of brushed on that last week with the utter disaster that is Alpine. But I'd like to really kind of discuss Kick Sauber. So we'll do that a little later on in the show today. But had a week off between races. I don't know about you, Dennis and Aaron, but Jones in big time for another race this week.
I'm ready.
And so they're down in
a dance competition.
Yeah.
So we have some time. Yeah,
it's true. It's true. So they're down in Australia this upcoming week. Always a really entertaining race. And in all honesty, who's to know what to see what the results are. It's kind of looking like it's going to be kind of a mundane season again, but we'll kind of see where things go. But I wanted to kind of jump right in and look into and just kind of go over the review or what we thought of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. And starting off, I think with what everyone was talking about right after that Grand Prix was just the amazing drive of Ollie Bearman. I mean, how incredible. He's qualifying for F2 at one point, and then like, hey, sorry, Sainz had his appendix removed. You're in. I'm like, oh, okay. And then almost knocks Hamilton out of qualifying. Yeah. Finishes 11th and then moves up 4 spots and finishes 7th. I mean, what?
Not an easy track either.
No, on the fastest street track in the world. I mean, it's just incredible. And he held off a couple of solid racers behind him for the most part. I mean, he had Lando behind him, and Lando was catching him toward the end there, and just
didn't have enough laps.
Yeah, but I don't know that he would have caught him because he was racing his ass off. It was fantastic to watch. So I guess the big question is now what the hell does Ferrari do with this kid? Because you can't keep him as a reserve driver. I mean, everyone's going to go after him. He's going to sign somewhere, and you can't give him one of the seats. I think they're kind of stuck. Yeah, because you have probably one of the best, if not the best, driver in the history of the sport in Lewis Hamilton. Their token guy that they'll never ever part ways with for some reason, Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, they're just in a love affair with that guy. So,
which is fine. But I know the rumors, not the rumors, but the things that were brought up a lot during the race were, he's got a seat at Haas, which makes sense. But
he did FP1 for a couple races last year, didn't he?
Yeah,
pretty sure Jeddah maybe.
I
know that was this. Exactly never mind. I'm getting them all mixed up with the race.
Yeah, but
I'm not sure.
I think Haas is probably the most likely landing spot for him. I mean, they use Ferrari engines, but who knows? We'll see. I think there's going to be
as long as if he gets a seat, that's fantastic, right? I mean, I know it might be Haas, but it's okay. Get some experience over there, and then something else will open up for him. And
then being a driver on Haas, does that keep him in line for a Mercedes seat? Or I'm sorry, for a Ferrari seat down the road.
For Ferrari later.
I can't imagine.
Because Hamilton's not going to race forever.
Right.
So
exactly. Yeah. So, or does another team like Ferrari, not Ferrari, but Red Bull or Mercedes jump in and try to,
snag them? Yeah.
So
it's going to be fun. What is the grid going to look like next year?
Yeah. And I think the other point where I think a lot of even the media for Formula One that covers that, we do our best with our, with the abundance of free time that we all have.
Sure.
But I've noticed just in reading stories online and those types of things, everyone's pretty much, it's just a foregone conclusion that Verstappen's going to win. This is over. So they're already, most podcasts and other news outlets that cover it, they're already covered. Like, what's 2025 going to look like? What's the grid going to look like? I'm like,
yeah, they're already looking forward.
There's been 2 races, people. Like, you got a long way to go here.
Yeah.
There's still 22, 23 races to go. You can't be giving up already.
Thank God there's all this shit going on because, like you said, it's going to be another mundane season. So I love that there's all these storylines. It keeps it interesting,
It does.
And I think that adds another one to it just to keep interest up. Like I said, it's going to be another wash, rinse, repeat kind of deal with Verstappen. So
yes, and I think like probably the most exciting part of the season is probably going to be the race for second and third and fourth, probably in the constructors between McLaren, Ferrari, and Mercedes. Honestly, so because
I mean both races, there's been a lot of competition behind them. So
and
no reason to think otherwise.
It stands right now, Red Bull is just on fire, unstoppable. Verstappen is just on another planet. It's just not even fair. So, and speaking of which, they finished 1-2 in the last
again.
Saudi Arabia again.
Yep.
Max only winning by about 6 seconds this last time instead of 30 seconds, and so a little close.
That must mean everyone else is catching up, right? No,
probably not. So, but the saga that is Red Bull Racing continues off of the track, not on the track, but off of the track. And now we've got the woman that was I guess whistleblower, but the accuser of wrongdoing by Christian Horner was then paid large amount of money to not say anything, is now talking and is now appealing the decision. And she was also suspended, which is
because they suspended
astonishing.
her.
Like someone brings something up, oh, there's no wrongdoing. Oh, now you're suspended. And we're going to pay you money at the same time. It's like none of this.
Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here.
None of this makes sense. It's like, I didn't do anything wrong, but here's $5 million.
Right.
It's like, what the hell is happening here? And so, this doesn't seem to be bothering them at all as a team on the track. Like they're still kicking ass and taking names, but it seems like the rumor mill is really starting to churn. Like Horner's on his way out. When is anything going to happen? Is it going to happen? What do you guys think?
I think he should.
I think we all think it should. I don't know, man. Like in the world of Donald Trump, like I just feel like this kind of stuff just gets dragged out, and then you just throw more lawyers at it, and you just keep dragging each other through the mud, and then nothing ever happens, and then next thing you know, the season's over. So my guess would be, if anything does happen, it'll be after the season. Maybe the mid-season break, maybe, but I would think it would go the whole season. I just, this is me with no faith in any of this, right? I just see too many people get away with this kind of shit. So
and I mean,
why would he be any different?
Yeah, and I mean the fact that a supposed non-biased group or person, whomever this group was or person was, found him not Steve from HR. Found him, not at fault, and now all of a sudden there's an appeal. But what baffles me still is, he didn't do anything wrong, but we're going to give you money.
That's the part, right?
That's a little suspect in my mind. So but I just don't like all of the speculation. It's just like, if you did something, then come out with it. It just seems like there's
no transparency.
Cover things up,
at all. They haven't told us anything. So, and then that's where I go with all of that, right? That's why I feel.
And I don't think they will either, No. But on that note, now, we've kind of determined that Red Bull is going to be the dominant force yet again this year, unfortunately. Or fortunately, it depends on if you root for them or not. Which of the, we kind of mentioned the three other teams that we kind of, and I think most others feel are going to kind of compete for that, that second, third, and fourth area. And maybe even fifth. We could even throw Aston Martin into things too in this group. But all those have been running great. Looking at McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, which of those teams do you think could kind of come closer, maybe are going to improve upon things to get to the point of maybe even competing with Red Bull towards maybe mid-season, even the postseason or the end of the year? If
you stay on the current trajectory, you got to say Ferrari, right? I mean, they've podiumed both races, and they're looking really fast. I mean, they threw a rookie in a car and got P7, right? Now, a lot of that, I think the rookie impressed a lot of people, but I think the cars are getting there, and I think Vassar's leadership is going a long way. But I also know that Ferrari does this.
Right.
I think that at least the last two seasons, right? They've started off really well, and we've all made these same kind of comments, and then by the end of the season, there's no podiums left for them, right?
Right.
So I don't know. That would still be my guess. I think McLaren's right there, like just like a hair behind them right now, and they feel just everything when in the interviews. Zach Brown, Lando, Oscar, they all seem very, very confident and happy, and they're loving the result, which tells me that they like the trajectory that they're on as well. So it's out of those two. I'm still not sold on Mercedes if they're back or not.
It doesn't seem to be. Their car does not seem to be able, like in the straights, it seemed okay. The high speed corners, and kind of want to talk a little bit about that later on too. But it just, yeah, I agree. The car just doesn't seem like it's there whatsoever. McLaren, I think they're kind of picking up where they left off last year. They're still a bit behind. Obviously, I'm a little biased.
It's same. I'm trying to hold back a little bit.
But I agree. I do see them behind Ferrari. I see Ferrari as the solid number 2 right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's honestly between McLaren and probably Mercedes for number 3. But I see Aston Martin kind of nipping at the heels of Mercedes right now too. I think Mercedes is behind McLaren, but we'll kind of see how the rest of the year goes. We've only had 2 races, so we got a long way to go.
Yeah.
Lots can happen here. So
thank God.
Yeah, but I agree. I think Ferrari is the team to kind of beat for second right now, unfortunately. So
it's gross.
Yeah, but it is what it is.
Yeah, so. I think McLaren will give them a push towards the end of the season,
and hopefully they kind of have the same upgrades like they did last year, where they just came out of nowhere. They were awful towards the bottom of the pack, and then just came out.
Well, they had their entire R&D program from scratch after the season started.
Right.
So they're way ahead of that this year.
Yeah. So, and after bagging on Haas at the beginning of the episode here, I'm going to come back to and praise.
I know. I saw your damn notes.
And so my bold prediction of last show of Hülkenberg finishing in the points did come true with a major assist from his teammate, Magnussen, throwing out the elbows during the race and keeping everyone behind him for the remainder of the race last in Jeddah. And Hülkenberg finishing the points at 10. So Haas.
Nicely done. I've been completely wrong about Haas, and now my bold prediction for the season has been shot in the second race. Yeah. So I should have said Kick or Alpine with no points, but
as Williams
actually Kick might get a point here or there. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
Right. No, it's not. They won't. No, I'm
not very.
No, they look. They're fine. It's Alpine. Looks like the dumpster fire still. There's been a few teams, I guess, but yeah, good job on that one, Shaun. Nailed it.
Probably just lucky. Who knows? But
better lucky than good. I think we've said a few times in our past, right?
Yeah, exactly. But Haas is in the points. So kind of touched on the Horner drama. And I kind of want to just brush up on this again. Just, I guess, one more other question with the Horner drama. He's going through the appeals process now, or the accuser's going through the appeals process. But so say he gets the boot, then who the hell takes over this team? Like, is it Joss? Does Daddy Verstappen take over?
I mean, if Horner's out of the way, I could see them going, well, Max will probably be here forever if we do this. Or is it Gunther? Did you tell me you saw the article from him on F1? That was an outstanding article.
Right. It was great.
He wrote it. It's just, I don't know if you saw it, Aaron, but talking about how he should have left a lot sooner.
Read a little bit of it, yeah.
And he only wants to come back if he's fighting for the front. I doubt he'd go to Red Bull, but it's interesting. Yeah. I don't know.
It is. It'll be interesting.
Like him.
And in all honesty, like if Horner is removed from the team, does it really even affect him?
No,
I don't think it does.
Does anything change?
No, I want it to.
Right.
And
I think we're all so desperate for some form of competition at the top.
Yeah.
Like, blow it up, destroy it,
get rid of them.
And it's likely going to change nothing.
Right. I mean,
he's going to keep winning. They still have the best car and the best driver. So
yeah. And it's just you can't.
That's where
now if they get rid of Marco, we're going to see some issues. That's different.
Right. Who knows? See if they end up keeping Horner around and Marco's like, yep, I'm good. I'm out later. Then who knows what happens? But again, nothing's going to happen this season. I mean, Verstappen's not going to get up and lead the team.
No,
right.
Races like, oh, guess what? I'm going to go drive a Mercedes. Ha ha ha. No, it's not happening. So it really doesn't. I don't think it changes anything for this year. Now, it obviously will shake up the grid for next year. And I mean, I think next year could be really, really interesting when it comes to who's driving where. But again, that's really far in the future. I don't want to get too much into that speculation already because I just think it's too early to tell on those types of decisions.
Yeah.
Really. So
we just got lucky that we had a crazy preseason, right? Which we usually don't have. Yeah. So that's why we're already thinking about all this stuff.
Right. And everyone's already determining who's driving where next year. And so, oh my God, like let's have at least like 10 races first.
And then somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So and they got to talk up storylines and those types of things as well. So moving on, let's chat about this week's Grand Prix.
All right.
Like I said before, Albert Park down in Australia. It used to be the first race of the year. I think they're going back to that as being the first race of the year, I believe next year. They've been starting in the Middle East and Bahrain the past few years, because I think they've done their preseason testing in Bahrain and then just have the Grand Prix the week after that. But I believe they're going back to Australia as the first race, as it had been for years and years and years, next year.
Excellent.
Which is always fun. Great track, a lot of history there as well. And as a McLaren fan, I'm really hoping that the homeboy Piastri grew up right down the road from this track as a kid. I'm hoping that he's going to have a really good showing, hopefully get a podium this week. I think McLaren's got a really good shot. Again, going to have to compete with the Red Bulls. Those are the two cars to beat for sure. You know, looking at what other teams are trying to improve, there's really not a whole lot of news on teams trying to bring in upgrades right away at this point in time. I know McLaren's reported that they're looking at upgrades coming online about race 6 or 7. That'd be in May. So that's, the first weekend in May is Miami. And then the race after that will be in Imola in Italy. So we're probably not going to see much in the way of change or improvement from the McLaren car until, a couple months from now, really. But Mercedes has been reported that they're going to start experimenting. They're experimenting. They're going to try some things. What the hell that means, I don't know.
I love that they're still bouncing.
Yes. That car is still porpoising all over the
third season on these regs, and they're still bouncing. They can't figure it out. I wonder why Lewis Hamilton left.
Right. Yeah, I don't know why. So their main things that they're trying to work on is the bouncing. So, and that primarily is occurring as they burn fuel on the car. They get to lower fuel levels in the car, and that car just gets lighter and crazy. And so they're trying to see what they can do about that. And then they're really, really bothered, and they're going to try to see what they can do looking at high-speed corners, because they lost tons of time on the last race in Jeddah, because those are all high-speed corners, and they lost tons of time. And you could see that with Hamilton chasing Norris during a good chunk of the race. He would get up, and then they'd hit those high-speed corner sections, and he would lose a second and a half. And so that's what's been reported thus far from the Mercedes side of things. A whole lot of other teams I just don't think they're there yet. They don't have enough data. They don't have enough information. And so, again, I unfortunately foresee another probably Red Bull at the top 1-2, unless for some strange reason someone, knocks one of them out. I could see a Ferrari at the front for pole position, because a lot of these race cars, they're doing great 1 lap times. Case in point, Fernando Alonso. He is an expert at 1 lap times this year.
Right.
That car drops down the list as the race goes on, unfortunately. But
you got to do 50 straight qualifying laps, And
I'm really, really missing the Charles Leclerc pole position crash on the formation.
No!
So I'm really hoping to see that this week. So what are you guys' thoughts? What are you hoping to see from this race this upcoming week?
You want to go first, Aaron?
Yeah. Like you said, I think Red Bull, they're going to be up there. McLaren, I think McLaren's going to do well this race, and then I'd be so bold as to say that they might take Ferrari out.
Like it.
I'd love that. Yeah.
All sounds good to me.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, we'll go with that. Let's put that in as an order.
Yeah.
What about you, Dennis? What do you got? What do you think?
So I want what Aaron said. That's what I want.
Right.
I think I can see. Okay, first, is Bearman racing again, or is Carlos back? Is Carlos going to be able to go?
I believe so. I haven't heard anything to the contrary, but
I haven't either. But I haven't seen any confirmation yet either, because he had surgery, for crying out loud. But it's been a couple weeks, so I don't really know what the bounce back time is on that. You probably have a good idea on that, Shaun, considering your background and all.
With those, you don't want a whole lot of strain, and I imagine the G-forces in those cars.
That's what I was wondering.
But heavens good. But all of these people are superhuman.
They are. Yeah. They are. What I was going to say was I could see Ferrari getting up there. I'd go as so far as saying maybe even a P2 from a Ferrari driver. If they go P2, then Sergio's P3, right? It's going to be one of those. Yeah. And I think one of the McLaren drivers will be just knocking just outside I could see very similar to last week, right? Where they're both kind of top 7-ish, in the points, which totally fine with. Keep them third in constructors. I'm happy with that. Are we going all the way full, everything we think here? Or are we not doing predictions yet?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Just podium.
Let's do podium.
I'm curious. This isn't necessarily a prediction, but I'm curious how Ricardo is going to race, because it's a home race for him too. And his comeback is not going well. He's not racing well, right? He has all kinds of issues, whatever you want to chalk it up to. Tends to run well down there. I'm curious if this is going to be, is he going to get a point? Is he going to get in that top 10? I can see him doing it. We all know he has it in him, but there's just when it shows up, I don't know. That's something I'm going to be kind of paying attention to.
Right. So I'm just looking at some of this is from a couple of days ago. Sainz is in Australia, but they have not officially confirmed his race readiness as of yet. If he does not race, it will be Bearman again.
I think we'd all love to see that. Let's give him another race. Let's see. Yeah. Let's make sure it's not a fluke, right? Which I doubt it is, to race the way he raced. But I'd like to see him go again, as much as I hate rooting for a Ferrari.
Yeah. So still no official word on the Ferrari lineup and Sainz's recovery at this point in time. So
interesting.
So more to come. But should be interesting. I think, either one will be fine either way. So, So I wanted to talk about Kick and Sauber. And so, they had a terrible race last week. Just terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Their pit stops were atrocious. They had trouble getting the wheels on and off. All of their stops were super long. Even when they didn't have issues, it seemed like they were stopping for 5-6 seconds at a time. And so a lot of work to improve upon in that arena, just to save time on that front. Car hasn't been all that great, but on the good news side of things for Kick and Sauber, Audi has now announced that they were initially only planning a partial takeover. They weren't going to buy the entire operation from Sauber and Alfa Romeo and that group, but they have a new chair now. The former CEO of Audi is now overseeing the takeover of the Formula One outfit. And they've just decided, you know what, we're going all in. So they are completely buying out and taking over the entire.
That is fantastic news.
Yeah. And so this, I think, is good news for any Kick Sauber fans, Aaron, because they have now a solid investment into the team. Mm-hmm. And so with money comes upgrades, comes improvement, research, design, all of those types of things. This is stuff that they didn't have last year or even a good chunk of this year. So they've got this infusion of money coming into the team now. So
is it starting now or in 26, this infusion?
Now. No.
Oh,
starts
okay.
Now. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
well, and see, I read an article at the beginning of the season that said that they were going to be aggressive with upgrades and that stuff. So if they were going to be aggressive before, now they really can.
Yeah. So now, because now they've got the money into the system. So now it's time to start putting up or shutting up. And so now
they have good drivers.
Yeah, I was saying they have good drivers. Valtteri Bottas is a great driver.
Yeah.
I mean, you put him in a decent car. He showed that at Mercedes. He can win races.
He won races. Yeah.
Yeah. Zhao has done really, really well with a non-optimal car in many, many races. He's finished in the points before. So I think that is totally where they're at now. It is yet to be seen, again, looking into the future, if they're going to be around next year. There's rumors that they're going to both be out. So it's hard to really say. But do we expect to see any significant improvement this year? Are we going to see them from the bottom kind of coming up to because they were in the bottom at the end of last year too. I mean, I remember watching them in Austin. It was Williams and Alfa Romeo and AlphaTauri. I mean, those were the bottom three teams, the race that we got to see. Are we going to see an improvement now with this fresh investment from Audi? Are we going to see any sizable improvement in this team this year? What do you guys think?
I think they have to. I think that's part of the reason why they went full, all in on it. They want to see that jump. So I expect that they'll probably have some, it's not going to, I don't think it'll be a crazy jump, but I think it's going to be something that you look at and go,
noted improvement.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be like McLaren last year or anything like that, but
maybe more consistent in the bottom,
more consistent, competing to get a point or two every race, that kind of thing,
I think that would be a vast improvement overall.
Oh yeah.
They're competing for, everyone, it always finds, people find it funny when I talk about Formula One and like, oh yeah, they finished 10th. That's great. They got points. Like, what the hell? It's 10th. Like, who the hell wants to finish 10th?
They got a point, man. That's
exactly.
Awesome.
It's a point, and you're in the top 50% of probably the top 0.5% of drivers on the planet. And so
on the planet, right?
Yeah,
right.
That is an achievement in and of itself. And so I don't think Audi is going to half-ass anything. I think they're expecting to win. I don't think they would get into this without the expectation of winning. They have the CEO of their Formula One team is the former team principal, Andreas Seidel. He's now the Formula One CEO for Audi. He has a really good track record of running things. He was, basically what Zach Brown is to McLaren now. That's what he is at Audi now. And he ran a pretty tight ship at McLaren. Not the greatest, but I think their current team principal's more suited for the job and better. Right. But Audi is not going to half-ass this at all. So I think, they're not going to be at the forefront right at the beginning. But now the point is, I think now the coming out of all of this is that they're putting the money where their mouth is. And I think they're expecting to come through, and they want to start winning races and be towards the top, especially at the beginning of 2026 when these new engine regulations come into play, and they're going to be hopefully ready to rock and roll at that point in time because everyone else
exciting.
is going to be too. So so this should be really, really fun. So,
it's going to be good for the sport to have that name in there,
and it'll be interesting to see because I think their driver lineup next year is what Audi's going to want. And so, is that a Carlos Sainz? Is that an Oliver Bearman? I mean,
there's a good one too, right there. Both young.
Yeah.
There you go.
And so you're going to have, an Audi livery with a Porsche engine in that car. I mean, Porsche's making engines for that car, which is unbelievable.
That's so cool.
It's just
so cool.
It's like
badge, baby.
So it's just badges everywhere. So, all right. So Dennis kind of gave us your predictions for the podium. Aaron, did I space off? Did you give predictions yet? I can't remember.
Yeah, podium, I'd say Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari.
Okay. Who on Red Bull? Verstappen? Who do you think? Okay. Who finishes second?
I think Lando.
Nice.
Ooh.
Like it.
Yeah, I'll go with the homer pick for you.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then Bottas P3 is up here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Zhao takes out everyone and leaves 3 races.
There's only 3 cars left. It's like Dennis at the 10K.
It's crashing into everything.
Oh man, I love it.
Yeah, no, I've got Verstappen winning. I'm gonna take Leclerc in second, Perez third, and then I think McLaren will be fourth and fifth. I think Piastri will be fourth again. He finished fourth last race. I think he's fourth again this race, and I think Lando's fifth. I'd say Bearman or Sainz, I think will be sixth. I think they'll be right there too. And then Mercedes behind them. And we'll kind of see how it goes. And then last but not least, bold predictions. Any?
Okay. I'm just going to say what I want to happen as my bold prediction. Then I'm going to say Ricardo gets a point.
Okay.
Yep. There's my bold prediction.
I could say if Bearman races, I could see him being fifth.
Okay. Nice. Top 5.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to go rooting for the American this week. The lone American. Logan Sargent finishes 8th.
Oh, man.
Bold prediction.
That is a bold prediction, sir.
Yeah.
I like it.
We said bold
Can you go 2 weeks in a row with this?
Gardetto's bold prediction on stateside speed. Yeah. I don't know.
Wait, you locked up Gardetto's? That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Maybe if we get 20 listeners and
we should have 20 because you said we had tens of listeners.
Yeah. Well, I haven't checked. You haven't
30.
told me the stats. 30?
No, we're usually around 20 something the first couple. So
all right. Yeah. This is only
gotta
episode.
Keep it going.
We just
episode 3.
Keep her rolling. So we're trying. Exactly. So no, should be a exciting week. We haven't had a whole lot of drama come out of the news yet thus far this week, but the week is young. It's only Monday. And so it's a late evening or really late night race. I think it starts at 11 p.m. Central Time in the States on Saturday night. And so I'm going to have to watch it on tape delay because I got a long drive on Sunday. So don't text me. I don't know.
Don't text each other. I'm going to turn off all my notifications on my phone.
Yeah.
Well, for all the F1 stuff.
Good call.
Yeah. But no, it should be another great race, and we'll kind of see what comes of it and who, if anyone, can really climb up there and compete with the Red Bull squad thus far. It just doesn't seem like it. It's just
no.
I think Verstappen, he's just out there now. Perez, I think people can compete with. He was ultra quick at the last race too. But he's always ultra quick at Jeddah. Like that seems to be the course that suits him.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that Verstappen still won by almost 7 seconds is a little disheartening because I don't know that anyone can really compete with that at this point in time. Again, the year is young, lots of time for upgrades, but unfortunately it leaves lots of time for Red Bull to upgrade as well.
Yeah.
Which I can't even imagine that car going faster. It doesn't seem like it would stay on the ground. But anyway, so I think that does it for this episode. Thanks for joining us. Aaron, it's a pleasure to have you on this show here this week as well. And so we'll try to have members of the Rad Dads, as many of you, if you listen to Dancing with the Odds, if you're one of the rare listeners that has the pleasure of listening to us on Dancing with the Odds and now Stateside Speed. We are Dance Dads.
Dozens of listeners on that podcast, sir.
Yeah. And so we are getting into the throes of competitive dance season. So we're going to be traveling quite a bit. So we'll try to have special guests from time to time throughout the year and get their uneducated opinions on racing. They probably have zero opinions. Many of them that probably have no opinions whatsoever. They just
Schumacher.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we can get Adam Crass to wear his Ferrari.
Oh yeah. That's gonna
maybe for a live show or live stream. So that'd be fun. So
I love it.
We just make one of them. So anyway, that's the show.
Race
so
week.
Again, guys.
Let's go.
Yeah. So if you don't follow us already, please follow us on Instagram, Facebook. I believe we're on Twitter. Yes. We're on all the socials. You can find us at Stateside Speed. That's just one word, Stateside Speed. Try to post as much as we can. We have a hard time with it, but we're getting there. We're trying.
We're trying.
That's all we can do. But we appreciate listening. Please follow us. We'll try to keep up to date with all the latest news and especially with the things going on with Red Bull and those types of things and any updates that come up for the race. So please stick with us and we'll try to keep you up to date as best we can. So thanks again, folks. Appreciate you listening and hopefully see you next week. We'll see. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.